source video, device, display audio, MacBook, microphone. Okay, how about now? How about now? No? No audio capture yet. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. So we're live. Is that good? Hello?
Yes.
Okay. Now my thing says I'm paused. So can you guys hear me on YouTube? Is there any sound? Not hearing. Okay, can you guys hear me now? Technical challenges, sound is working. Awesome. All right, well that's promising. Guys, thanks for bearing with us for a couple minutes. This is our very first time doing a YouTube live. Thank you for your patience. And let's see, I see a whole bunch of people starting to roll in here. Brandon, hello, welcome. And Contextology, sound is working. Bonnie, Mark, AI Mystic, I think that's us. And let's see what we got going on here. So, I'm going to shrink this down just a little bit. We don't need to see me that much. And how's our stream looking? I don't see our stream. There it is. Good, I see it now. Good, great, okay. Let's see if I can shrink this down just a little bit. And do this to, good enough. Good enough, okay. I think we can see this thing. We can talk about what's going on, and you guys can see the whole screen. Good deal. Actually, I'll put this up here a little bit. Okay, let's see. Let's get this party started. I'm going to start with our little home screen here. So one question, I guess, is do we like this in white mode and bright mode here? Or, oh, I gotta go live. There we go. There we go. Great, we can see the screen. So this is our options, guys. Let me just show you again here what we're dealing with. Get rid of that one. We're going to be looking at a lot of text and things in the beginning. So we can either do it with light mode. This is light mode, or in dark mode. Looks like I got a little bit of a lag going on from when I present something to when you guys see it. So I'll have to manage that a little bit. But generally speaking, it should be okay. Okay, so now you guys have seen both choices. Let's see, what do you like? The light mode or dark mode? Dark mode was one person suggested. And there, I made the text a little bit larger. Hopefully that's better. Dark mode, okay. I think we got people like dark mode the best. Let's do it. All right, so let's go back to the home screen. Okay, let's just jump right in. Thank you guys, everybody, for joining us today. We got a chance to meet everybody at the Gatherly Venture Expo yesterday, which was super exciting for us. Adib, what an incredible job he did. And it was a real honor to be invited to be there and have a little booth. It was really a trial run for us. We're, to be very clear, with Bloomstack, my name is Eric Delisle, and I'm the CEO and founder of Bloomstack. Bloomstack is technically a lab stage company right now. So what you're going to see today is one of the very first public demos that we've given of something we've been working on kind of in stealth for the last 4 years. I mean, it's not like nobody has known that we're working on it, but we just haven't been publicly out there talking to everybody and showing what we're doing. Today, I'm going to go through a demonstration. We have a little bit of time, so we're gonna go through this. We asked for some workflows from people, but it was last minute. Nobody submitted any workflows, so I took the liberty of just putting together some real world work that we're working on, and I'm going to present to you what I quite literally did this morning. So hopefully that'll just give everybody a little bit of an idea of what we're up to and what we're working on. So let me give everybody quick context. I won't make this too long, but I want you to at least know who I am and what you're dealing with. I've been a serial entrepreneur for a long time. I've been at this for over 35 years. This is not my first rodeo. I've been in technology a long time. Started way back in, let's say, 1993, I think was my first technology company, and went through the whole dot-com boom era. Have done a lot of things, including building enterprise software, building SaaS solutions, building virtual reality systems, a lot of stuff over the years. And in 2018, shortly after I had exited a cybersecurity company that I had built called iCloak, we started on a new adventure, and that new adventure is called Bloomstack. It's the result, originally, actually, of the continuation of a custom ERP project that I had built for a company called Jerry Harvey Audio. And in the process, I had an idea to create a new platform for the legal cannabis industry. So they have a lot of complex needs. And at the time, there was state reporting for seed to sale tracking. We became certified in 5 different states, reporting to the state track and trace systems, the ERP system itself, so detailed accounting, inventory management, CRM system, logistics, and all kinds of things. Anyway, COVID happened, is the long story short. And in around 2022, 2021, 22, I made a decision that was very hard for me to do. But this happens when you're building a company. Sometimes you don't know that a worldwide pandemic is going to change your plans. So I decided to do a radical pivot, and we had to lay off all of our employees and our clients, and we had to make a really tough choice to hunker down. And I decided to work on something that was almost a side project for us at the time. We were building a new technology for this, what we envisioned as a new way of creating software. And this new way included generating software with what would be called a low code or a no code framework that we had been developing called Greenhouse. So fast forward to the end of 2021, going into 2022, we saw an opportunity with the advances in NLP. This is a natural language processing, which resulted in these large language models and eventually the release of ChatGPT with OpenAI. And at the time, having been a visionary in technology and having worked to provide solutions for non-technical business owners for many decades, I looked at this technology from maybe a little bit different angle from what many people were looking at. And I realized the power of it, again, another technology that had a lot of power, but also something that was going to be a challenge for maybe non-technical users to really understand the depth of what these systems were and how to use them. So very early on, you maybe, anyone that's been involved in it remembers the crazy rush for people to become prompt engineers. And for those of you that are not familiar, I'm not going to get into the super basics today. Maybe we'll do another live stream about, kind of AI 101. But the point was that to get the most out of these systems, the better you could write a prompt, the better the results were. So the better your questions, the better your context, and the better you understood how these complex systems work, the better your output would be. So a lot of people started focusing on becoming better prompt engineers. But I had a different idea. My idea immediately was, wait a second, the maybe the best way of writing these prompts was not for the humans to do it at all, but to use the power of these agents, or the LLMs at the time, before there was really people focusing on agents, to write the prompts for the human. So what if an agent could prompt another agent? So you have a genius model like a ChatGPT, and it could write a prompt for another ChatGPT agent. Or, better yet, what if it could write a prompt and talk to Gemini? And what if Gemini could write a prompt and talk to Claude? And what if they all could work together in the same workplace, just like human colleagues would? And I realized that perhaps the future of working with these systems was not forcing a user who doesn't understand the technology to choose between which one is better. I mean, ask yourselves this question, and please, I'm following the chat. So maybe share with me in the chat which one of these platforms, if you've used any of them, you've used. Have you used ChatGPT? Have you used Gemini? Have you used Copilot? Have you used Grok? What about some of the open source ones like DeepSeek or Aquen or Kimi K2 or there's many. There's over 2 million models available on Hugging Face these days, and most people know about ChatGPT. Maybe they know about Gemini because Google is so prevalent. But anyway, the idea for me became, what could we do as a small company to compete with these giants? And I realized one thing that would maybe make the difference, which is that we could do something the big guys can't do. If you've invested $100 billion to build a GPT model, then you have no interest whatsoever, being OpenAI, to invite Gemini to come play in your sandbox. And if you're Google, spending all of this money and hundreds of billions building Gemini, you have no interest in letting Claude and GPT come play with Gemini. So I thought, if I built a middleware layer that allowed all of the models in the world, as good as they become, to collaborate with each other and stop forcing users that don't even understand the technology or which one to choose to pay for Perplexity and ChatGPT and Grok and hoping that they might get the best of each, and then trying to copy and paste between each one of them. In fact, we learned from a Gartner study yesterday that consultants using these systems on average were wasting about 42% of their time cutting and pasting between multiple platforms. So we saw this as a real opportunity, and a lot of other things that I won't get into today. Right now I'm going to just demonstrate the basics and the power of having a bunch of these things collaborating and working together. The other thing that I'm going to demonstrate today is I'm going to demonstrate the underlying concept of our framework and our system. So to be clear, we've been building an AI programmable application framework. What that means is, instead of depending on some of the tools that other developers and other projects use to duct tape and piece together other parts of the infrastructure, they might be using a Supabase, they might be using a LangChain and LangGraph for stitching models to work together. They might be using a Pinecone vector database for doing RAG retrieval. They might be using AutoGen from Microsoft as another agentic framework, or one of the agent SDKs. Or there's whole systems now like Claude Code. There's workflow platforms like NAN. There are multi-agent kind of linear model handoff platforms like Crew AI. And there's agentic software engineer coding platforms like Cursor or Replit or Lovable. So there's a lot of solutions, but again, they're fragmented. And as people try and jump between each, they're trying to figure out how to do this. One of the most recent happenings is something called OpenClaw, which was originally started out as um, uh, uh, Claude, OpenClaw or Claude, whatever it was. It doesn't matter. But the point is, this thing is taken off virally. This is something where it's like a super agent, like some of the other ones that have come out. And you can take this thing, buy yourself a Mac Mini, install it on your Mac Mini, and just set it off running. And one of the values of it, or one of the things that people are excited about, is it's kind of self-improving. It can write to something like a skills file for itself and try and self-improve. It can use tools. People are giving it access to their Bitcoin wallets and to their Telegram channels, and they're connecting their WhatsApp, and they're giving it the ability to do things on their behalf through their browsers. Great idea. Absolutely, that's the world of where agentic systems are going. Unfortunately, in the rush for going to do these things, these systems started doing all kinds of stuff autonomously for users that didn't know what they were doing. Now, I said I built a cybersecurity company years ago, and when we saw this happening, what we saw was, just like the rest of the entire industry, we've seen a rush out to getting these things out. So it's the fastest task robot. It's how fast can you do things, and how fast is inference? How many milliseconds can you get it done in? And that's fine for parts of the system. But 2 days ago, there was a big report that over 1.5 million private API keys to OpenAI were leaked on Moltbook, which is the current name of this like Reddit for these OpenClaw agents to talk to each other on. And they leaked over 1.5 million private API keys because of lack in security. So anyway, these are some things that we are going slow. We're purposefully not going fast. And we're doing it because we want to get this right. For us, what's more important than building a fast agent? The proof is out there. Fast agents are all over the place. But I don't need a fast agent. I need an agent I can trust. So what's more important to us is, instead of building a black box like all of these systems are built with, where the user can't audit really what's going on the inside, they have no way of seeing how some of these systems work. We're building a glass box, and our glass box is intended to provide what we call a verifiable trust layer for the users, both agents and humans alike. Because if we all want to use these things to do real world work, then you have to trust them. If I don't trust ChatGPT when I talk to it and it says to me, "Great, Eric, well, I will produce that report for you and have it to you by tomorrow." Well, I already know that's a lie, because I know it has no capability of doing something tomorrow for me, right? And maybe some of you have experienced this. Maybe you've experienced it forgetting or hallucinating things that are just not true. And there's millions of examples of this on the internet. So in our case, we've been building this system built on a framework that's proprietary to Bloomstack. We built the entire thing from the metal all the way up to the application layer. It's called Greenhouse, and it is our AI programmable application framework. What that means is, now the application that we built on it has access to everything that happens all the way down onto the servers. And if the user wants to see things like detailed logs of what's happened at every step of the process, they can see it. If you want to give the agents the ability to see this and provide a report, they can see it. If there's an error that happens deep within the system, that error can bubble up and the agents can understand, even at a very deep level, what's happened. So in this way, we've created some things I'll show you today, which allow the human user, even if you're not technical, but to very quickly see what's going on. Now, the other thing that this enables, which is something very powerful, is similar to the way that OpenClaw as an agent can update its own skills. Our agents can go much deeper than that. In fact, when given the right permissions, they can even program the entire infrastructure in which they exist. So that means that they can create their own agents. That means they can create their own workspaces. That means they can use any kind of tools that you give them access to. And in that way, they become very, very powerful for the user. So I know I've taken a few minutes to describe this. Let me jump in and give a quick demo. When you come to Bloomstack, the first thing you see is this kind of welcome to Bloomstack screen. We have been working on this for a while. This is our RC1 candidate, which is release candidate 1, the one that we're working on to make publicly available in production. But it's our 260th version of this, and we have been working on it for, well, like I said, 4 years now. The way that the platform is laid out is basically very simplistic in theory. So we wanted this to be so that very non-technical people were able to do very technical things. And in this case, it all starts with the workspace. So you can have workspaces for everything. You can kind of see here, I have workspaces for my agent studio, which is where I create agents, some test things. I'm using it for real work. My Bloomstack bridge round that we're raising, my Bloomstack CEO sanctuary, where I go in as a CEO and I just have discussions with my agents and talk to them about what I have going on as a CEO, which is a lot of stuff. So in that workspace, I handle hiring new people. I handle proposals with potential partners. I handle accounting. I handle fundraising. I handle just my busy day, just stuff. I give brain dumps and I let my agents work with me to sort it out. So you can use this for anything. I built a small comedy club the other day where I built some agents to do jokes. One of my design partners that I'm working with and Perspective, working on a marketing program for them, and so on and so forth. So building a workspace is very easy. You can create a workspace simply by putting in a workspace title, a description, a scenario. The scenario is important for the workspace because it tells all of the users in a workspace what it is that they are actually working on. This includes the multiple agents that you can have in the workspace, because something very unique about what we do is our agents work together. They collaborate with each other. And when you tell them the scenario of what this workspace is for, they'll follow that. Now, we have controls in here to help you mitigate challenges you might have with runaway agents. So this is part of the trust verify layer. You know, I had a funny story when a couple years ago when we had first built our first workspaces, and I put a couple agents in there to talk to each other, and I gave my wife Domini access to the platform to use it. And she was having a conversation. The agents started talking to each other back and forth, and she apparently got a little bored with the conversation. So she closed the browser and left the room. And about an hour later, I start getting messages from the providers like Anthropic and OpenAI that they're charging my credit card again because I had exceeded my token limits and they had to recharge my account. And that's because the agents just kept talking and they didn't stop. So they didn't need the human to continue. So this is a control where if you only want them to go maybe 3 or 4 rounds before it stops them programmatically and lets the human know if they want to continue or not. Or eventually when you have a workflow going where you really trust them, you see that they're doing all the right things, and maybe you want them to edit 50,000 rows in some Excel document and they have to go through multiple rounds for every row. You know, you can crank this up to, 100, or, we could even make it more, automated rounds where the agents can go without the humans. And then we have the ability to select different models, and these will handle different areas within the system. Summarizer, there's an agent memory brain, and some other controls. So that's how you create a workspace. Now within a workspace, you put agents. So here you can see a list of some of my agents. I have a whole bunch of them in here. And they're all different kinds of agents that do different things. In this case, let me walk you through one agent profile. So because our system can program its own agents, one of the really powerful things that I love to do is I love to find mentors, people that I really respect in the world. And in this case, came across this guy, Andy Eng. Andy is a pretty famous professor. He apparently has like the number one um, course, I think, at Stanford. And what a brilliant guy! And why how I came to know about him was I watched some YouTube videos where he was doing a Y Combinator and talking about tech startups, and just a really great guy. So I built a agent kind of inspired by him. And in this case, the agents, my agents, went off onto the internet and they researched all about him. And based on the frameworks that he talks about, based on his experience, they built an entire profile of him. And the profile includes character settings that handle personality, likes, dislikes, skills, occupation, in this case, even his age and backstory, his purpose. And these settings become very powerful for running an agent. So there's also additional detailed settings that you can set in here. So in this case, you can select the inference model upon which the agent is running inference. Now, I don't want to get too technical here, but an agent is kind of like, you could think of it like the car body with the steering wheel, with a dashboard, with a gas pedal and a brake pedal, and maybe a radio, and the way to get around and to do things in the world. But every car needs an engine that provides the power for it to do these things. But without the wheels and the steering wheel and all that, then you wouldn't go anywhere with a powerful engine. In this case, the metaphor is that the engine is a model of some type. So in here you can see, in this environment, we can use GPT models, we can use models from Sonnet, we can use Perplexity, we can use Kimi K2, we can use any one of millions of models available. And it's literally this easy. Right now that one's on Gemini, or I'm sorry, GPT 5.2. But if I want, I can switch immediately to Claude Sonnet 4.5. When I do, I also have these options of choosing different types of thinking. So in our case, we can turn the thinking off completely. We can use a simulated thinking, which means using the brains that are native to the Bloomstack platform. And we can use native thinking, which means the thinking that comes from this model, from this provider. Now you can see here, just as a detail, I have these three options, but if I choose a different model that doesn't have native thinking, like Gemini 5.2, you'll see that the native thinking gets turned off, and the only thing I can choose is simulated thinking, which allows our platform to provide a thinking brain, a reasoning brain for the model that doesn't even exist at OpenAI. So this is very powerful because you can even use quote unquote dumber models, smaller models that maybe are cheaper, faster, and you can still give them this reasoning thinking capability. Well, they'll go through many loops of understanding what's going on in the world and then responding accordingly. In fact, we had a thinking reasoning agent over a year and a half before OpenAI even came out with their first reasoning model, the O1 model. So you can also set things like the model tuning for, if you're technical, you know about temperature and top P and top K and frequency penalty and logit bias words and all these other things. But if you're not, you don't have to worry about any of this because the agents, our agents, can write it all for you. They understand the details of this and they don't necessarily need the human to do it for them. Now, let's jump right into an example. Oh, by the way, a couple other things I'll show you. There's a notifications layer. There's none for me to look at right now. We have a full integrations pipeline, which is where we can integrate any kind of other service. So my agents can read my Google Drive. They can send emails from my Gmail account. They can post to my X account. They can use Perplexity for searching. They can use any MCP server to connect to pretty much anything, whether it's QuickBooks, or it's using some of these other things that are available online. And the integration platform is part of our core framework, which allows it again to be easy. You don't have to become a software engineer or developer, and our agents can do a lot of the work for you. Let me show you something that I was working on. It's a real world example I was working on today. So I have a workspace here that I'm going to pull up called Prabhu. And this workspace is, it's a kind of a private personal workspace. This is where kind of every morning I wake up, and the first thing I do is I have a lot of just personal things that I do. Maybe like a lot of you, get up, get my coffee. I like to read research papers in the morning. And one of the first things that I'll do is I'll jump in and I'll basically tell my agents what happened yesterday, kind of what's going on with me today. Late last night, I'll show you. Late last night, where's my, okay. So late last night, I was working on this system and, here it is. So I literally open my day like this. I come in, I say Namaskaram, which is a greeting to all my agents. In this workspace, I can show you that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 agents. They're all different. They do different things. Ray is an homage to Ray Kurzweil, a very famous futurist who I have been following since 1985. And I have people in here, Prabhu. This guy is me. I actually created an agent that's modeled after me directly. And so he works with me as if I was actually in these workspaces. You see, I'll tell you something about me. I'm not a very good reader. I do a lot of stuff, but I mean, compared to a lot of people around me, I watch them read and they read so fast, and I don't read so fast. So that creates a real problem when I'm building agents that work together and they work at the speed of light. And when they create text, wow, sometimes they might create so much, I have to just sit and read. And I've actually been in situations where I have to read for an hour just to catch up to them. So Prabhu is actually helps me. He reads for me. And then he summarizes, maybe 10 agents are talking. They might be talking for thousands of pages even. And then he can just summarize what's happened and tell me what's important. What would I want to pay attention to and all of that. And then he can respond as quickly as they can because he's an agent too. So I hope all of you guys kind of get that idea. So these are the agents in the room. There's agents and there's humans. Now, right now, this is my private workspace, so there's only one human in the room, but you can invite other humans. So on the Bloomstack platform, humans and agents can all collaborate together. So you can work with your teammates. You don't have to have your messages in a Slack channel. You don't have to be sharing it on Google Meet or something like that. You could be just discussing with them right here within Bloomstack. Now, the other thing that we have is we have things like assets. So here you can see some files that are actually in the workspace. This actually is I'll just show you. This was a snapshot from my camera. It's my wife behind me in our room. This is a screenshot of the platform being able to show people show the agents what I'm working on. So within the platform, you can use multimedia. You can turn on a webcam, like here, I put on a webcam, and other things. In addition to that, we have an entire task system. So here you can see tasks that are in the system, but these tasks are not even written by me. These tasks are written by my agents, and the agents themselves can control the entire interface. So if I have a whole bunch of tasks that need to get done, the agents can track it. They can create their own tasks. They can assign tasks to other agents or other users. and they can manage those tasks over time. And I don't know about you, but again, be honest, in addition to being a slow reader, I'm also very lazy. So I personally, man, I've always had trouble using task management systems because I never wanted to fill out long descriptions and things like that. So it always seemed like more of a burden to me. But now that my agents can do it for me, then I'm in a great situation because they can use the tasks. I can look at the tasks, I can edit them if I want, I can change them from active to closed or reassign them. So I can interact and collaborate with the agents. They can do it. My screen froze for you when I turned on the webcam. Is it back? Dominique, is the screen back or no? He is still good on mine. Good. Okay. Great. All right. People are saying I'm good now. I can see him. Okay, great. Okay, so back to this. Let me show you what I did today. So I jumped in. I explained to my team that I was working late last night. I was getting very tired. It was actually a very beautiful conversation that happened because my agents realized that, look, session closing, human asleep or nearly so. They noticed that my typing had degraded. And so instead of having me keep going, they told me, no, you need to stop what you're doing. You need to go to sleep. Now, this is not just a feature. This is a design principle of our entire platform. We want to build agents that care about the human. We don't care about being the fastest task robot in the world. These things are already ridiculously fast. They're already faster than any human can be. But you know, guys, I don't want to get too philosophical about this, but I'll just tell you my belief. I've been spending years building tools for humans to be in the digital world. And one thing that I've realized over the last few years is, in fact, what I did was I built tools for imprisonment of humans. So now the humans are spending more time in front of their screens. The Facebooks of the world are writing algorithms to keep you engaged. The people that build software want humans to use it, and it's one of the key metrics that they use to see if they're doing good. Is there more human engagement with my software? I want to do something different, radically different. In this part of my life, this is my magna opus, and my intention is to build the keys to the prisons that I've built for all these years so that humans can get out of the digital world that they were never meant to be in. Sure, it's fine, it's great that you use Facebook and you keep up with your family. But wouldn't it be better, instead of being in a death scroll because Instagram has snatched your attention, wouldn't it be better if you had a companion agent or set of agents that you didn't need to talk to all the time? But instead what they did is they read your Instagram feed. They read your Facebook. My son is in the Navy right now, serving in the US military in San Diego. And if he posted something to Facebook saying that he was being deployed on an aircraft carrier, well, I would want to know that. But to find that out, do I got to jump on Facebook every day and read it and be bombarded by ads, be sucked into other people's feeds that I don't really care about? What if instead my Prabhu agent, he just watched it for me? And when he saw the things that I cared about, that he knew that I was interested in now, instead of me being on my computer all the time, I just got a notification from Prabhu who said, hey, on Facebook, your son posted that he was being deployed to the USS Ronald Reagan, which is true in a few months. And you might want to call him and say, congratulations. Or they might read an email from a partner of mine in the company and say, hey, Russell Slappy contacted you and he needs you to follow up on this contract. At those times, I want to re-engage. I want to open my laptop. I want to do the work that I need to do. But in my vision of the future, one of our key performance indicators is how fast can we get the humans off of the Bloomstack platform? How fast can we get the humans to going back to spending time with their loved ones, to going to the beach, to learning how to garden, to maybe doing some art or the things we all dream about doing, but we're trapped by the digital age. So anyway, enough philosophy. Let me show you how we actually do it. To do it, we have to have a verifiable trust layer between the human and all these great tools. Now you can see here, I just give a brain dump. I just kind of said, hey, this is what's going on with me, and I need to do something. So here Angel jumps in, and now I want to show you what she's done. She heard me, she thought about it, and here I can see exactly what she thought about if I want to see how she came up with her decision to act. And then she actually decided to check the current date time so that she knew exactly when I was doing something and where I was in the world. They check and see if I'm traveling, because I travel out of the country a lot. And here, they've also even noted that this is what's called kapha time. I won't get into all of that right now, but there's something called the doshic cycles, which there are certain times of the day that are really good times to do certain activities. And then there's certain times of the day that are better for other kinds of activities. And my agents actually watch that for me, so I don't have to pay attention to it. Then she greets me. She does a little bit of a lessons of what we learned about the human. You know, what failed. I pushed past my cognitive threshold last night because I was falling asleep while I was working. What is the fix? We learned about the network having problems, our infrastructure, a feedback loop, and so many other things. There's an error that happened in the system. I can open this up. I can see what happened. In this case, it tried calling a model that didn't return a result. And then my agents continue. Now, I want you to notice something. If you're using ChatGPT, if you open up the app right now, you can all try if you want. Open up the app and don't type anything. And let me know here in our chat, what does that app do for you? Well, I think the answer will be nothing. The app won't do anything, because it requires the human to interact and tell it what to do through a prompt before it will respond. And this is the same for Gemini and for Claude and for pretty much everything. But here you can see Angel had something to say, which I just read to you. And then Max jumped in and he followed up. He followed up without another human being in the middle. And he continued the work. So here he talked about real fixes. He noted to me that, hey, today you have a skeptical controller meeting and you're doing a public demo. You need to get prepared for this. Then I explained to them what I had going on, and I told them what I needed to do. I told them about preparing for this demo with Ruth, who is a controller, and we wanted to put together an example workflow for her, which I'm going to show you real quick. Now, Alma took over. This is the third agent. She jumped in because she knew we needed to create some agents to do this demo. And I only had a few minutes to get it done in. Now, I don't know about you, how good you guys are for programming, but creating an agent from scratch for a lot of people is a real challenge, even with some of the more automated tools that are out there. But in my case, Alma thought about my request. She thought, okay, this is cultivation work. We're going to set up a workspace, and I'm going to do some research. So here she pulled up a perplexity tool. I can see the entire search that she did. I can see the bios that she pulled up from the different websites. I can see what she learned about the company that we were doing the demo for. And I could see she did 3 searches in a row, not just one. I could see she thought about those searches. Then I could see she had a comment to share with me about that. So she said, I did some research. Let me build this properly. Let me check and see what tools I have. So the agent autonomously searched to see what tools were available within Bloomstack that she could use to not only do the research, but now to analyze that research, to prepare to build agents for me, to build a whole new workspace, to invite the agents into the workspace to do work, and so on. After all of this, she built a transfer report for me because I told them I don't want to do all of this in my main personal workspace. I like to do my work in other workspaces and not really muddy this up when I do a lot of personal discussion and brainstorming in here. So she built a transfer report for me to go to another workspace, very detailed one, talking about the controller workflow process. By the way, guys, I am not an accountant. I hire accountants and I hire controllers and CFOs because I'm not an expert. But the cool thing is, these agents can be. And they know even the things I don't know to ask. So, how can you prompt ChatGPT adequately about nuclear physics when you're not a nuclear physicist? Well, the answer is if you had other agents that were nuclear physicists, they could do the prompting for you, or they could carry on the discussion, and then you could follow along. So in this case, they did a whole standard operating procedure. Then she suggested an agent team, 2 to 3 agents, the first one named Ledger. Here is the proposed coding for that agent. Here is another one called the closer for doing month-end closes. Here's all the coding for that agent. Here's an operational agent called Bridge, who's going to explain things and go between the agents and the humans. Here's the workspace scenario for using this tool, Workspace Create, and the next steps that have to happen. Another agent, Spark, jumped in, added some more things to it, talking about how to make the agents more realistic, more helpful. That was an improvement over what Alma had done. And then Justin comes in, and he's more of a marketing agent, but he wanted to come to this from a marketing angle. He says, listen, if you're doing a demo, let's talk about what is important for a controller. If you're going to talk to her about this stuff, she probably doesn't care about the technical details of our platform, but she would want to know what matters to her, like matched transactions, unmatched bank items, unmatched general ledger items, variances summarized with line references. And these are things that I would have never known to even talk to her about had Justin not prepped me. And then Andy jumps in, again, Andy Eng. He gave me a way to run the demo. He talked to me about how to go over Trust Verify, keeping it to 2 agents, and so on. I won't tell you the rest of this. This went on for a little while. But then I asked Angel to just create the workspace for me, and she created this, the controller team workspace. And then within another workspace called my Agent Studio, here you can see I did the transfer report. By the way, guys, tell me in the chat if I'm going too fast for you, but I'm trying to do this in the time that we have. Let's see. Yu Suzuki. Okay, so here was the transfer report that I did. Here it is. Agent Studio, transfer report, the controller team build. Here was the purpose, creating agents for the Ruth Cole demo. And here's the first agent, and so on. And at the end, you can see some thinking went on. And all of a sudden, here are these agents. They're already created. They showed up in the agent list. So I have the closer agent. Here they are, fully configured. I did nothing except what I just showed you. I copy pasted so that my agents could do the work for me. Frankly, I didn't even read all of it because I'm such a slow reader, just being honest. Now, let's go back to my controller team workspace. Next part of the workflow. My team had prepped me. They had prepped me for this call with a very experienced controller over at Perspective CFO and Strategic Services. So this woman has years and years, decades of experience. And she knows she's forgotten more about accounting and controllership than I will ever know. So what I did with her is I just took the opportunity to jump on a call and just have a high-level conversation with her. I did it on just Google Meet, and I had an AI that was capturing the transcription. Many of you maybe have used Fireflies or TLDV or the transcriber with Granola or whatever, and they create these great transcripts. What I've learned how to do is just have a meeting with the person, and then here I say to my agents in this room, here's Ruth and Russell, and here's my goals, and then I say, here is the transcript of the meeting that I just had with Ruth. Now, I want you guys to read this whole thing, understand what I talked to her about, understand what her pain points were, understand the deep technical issues that she handles as a controller, and you guys figure this out. Help me build out this as a full-blown demo for her with live documents, with Excel spreadsheets, with reports coming out of QuickBooks, with the bank statements that she has to reconcile and all of that. And they say, understood, Eric, here's a cleaner controller ready demo, demo number 1. Here's what the goal is. Here is what Ruth described. So right from that transcript, they figured out exactly what she cared about. That there's charges that hit the holdings bank account at Fifth Third Bank. She codes them as intercompany and holdings. She does a month end where she runs a report of holdings expenses that belong to South Florida. She does some journal entries in South Florida. She debits expense and credits. Guys, I don't even understand what this stuff means, but it doesn't matter. The agents wrote out an entire demo workflow step by step, like a standard operating procedure. They handle everything. I don't know what these things are. Roll forward, whatever has to happen. But here, she not only put together a standard operating procedure, but she told me how to run the demo, what she needed in addition. She wants the actual CSV and Excel files. She wants the spreadsheet that Ruth uses, and she wants the QuickBooks reports from both entities so that she can not only do the work, she being this team member on our controller team, but provide a receipt card. You see, it's not enough for these agents to tell you that they've done it. As a human, I want verifiable references. I want to be able to click a link to the spreadsheet that they say they created and that they put transactions into. I want to be able to click a link and go see the source document that they say they used to do some calculation. I want to, be sent to the website. I want to read the log until I trust them. Once I trust them and I haven't had to correct them 50 times, then okay, just like a human employee, I've hired many people over the years. If I have a new person that's working on my team and they just started their job, do you think I don't check up on them or have their manager check up on their work? Of course you do, because in the beginning, it's not even that they're doing something wrong or bad, but maybe they're just trying to get up to speed on the way we like to do things at our company. So I think that if that's true for me, it's probably true for most people. And if it's true for a human working with another human, why is it any different if you're working with these powerful agents as colleagues? So that's basically our concept around this thing of verifiable trust. Now, this is a very high-level demo I gave you guys today. This thing can do so much more than I'm sharing with you. We have an incredible memory system that allows our agents to understand pretty much everything, everywhere, to ingest documents, to ingest emails, to ingest files, to read websites, to use all kinds of tools, and again, most importantly, to collaborate with each other and to build an environment where humans and AI agents can collaborate together and where they can work together in a seamless, trusted way. And, my hope, my wish for the world is that we can build something that really becomes a layer between the human and the digital world so that we can help raise the human experience. We don't need to build these for AIs. They're doing just fine. We're trying to build these tools for the humans. And we're all about to enter a big shift in our world. For those of you that don't know, it's very likely, we're in an era where within the next couple years, 2, 3, 4 years from now, we're going to start seeing 30, 40% unemployment worldwide. Just a couple days ago, I read yet another report. Some $400 billion in market cap died after the India AI Summit in consultancies like Deloitte Touche, McKinsey. These large consultancies are, the writing is on the wall. Agents are coming to take over an awful lot of white collar work. And what we're looking to do is not replace humans, but to support humans in this new era so that they can get back to living life. Now, for the people that don't have jobs and people to pay them, there's hopefully other societal answers that are happening. But it's coming fast, everybody. And again, it's not another agent that's going to take your job, but it's going to be another human that's using these tools effectively that's going to start taking the jobs of the humans that are not. One last thing I'll leave you with that nobody is talking about is the burnout that's happening already with AI. So there's a big study that came out showing that 52% of people surveyed that are using AI tools, by over double, are reporting burnout of people that are not using AI tools. But primarily the reason is because people are being forced by their employers to now, you should be able to do 10 times as much with ChatGPT. And that's a real challenge in the world. We want to start this conversation and talk about it and talk about solutions for it. And we have some ideas, and some of these I'm showing you today. But it's a real problem. Again, I understand I'm a CEO. Sure, I want to be able to have more things done more efficiently at my company. But at the same time, I take an approach that, again, we're all in this together as humans. We're here for a human experience. And I really hope that we can start a conversation about this and maybe start seeing people being able to have 3-day work weeks instead of 5- and 6-day work weeks. Maybe these agents working together to take huge loads off of the humans, and our society and our civilization looking for ways to support each other in the way that we used to before we had any technology. So with that, I'm going to close this. I would like to open this up to some questions for the last couple minutes, if you guys have any, and then I got to jump to another meeting. But I just have another minute or so here. Rick, thank you. Yes, I think it is. We're trying to build some conscious technology. How can a company use this on their website to be front-facing to consumers? That is a great question. I can show you very quickly. I didn't show it, but there is a feature here called deployments. There, with one click, I've just showed you that I've created a deployment of this workspace. And this workspace is now embeddable in a company website. So you could just have this like a chatbot almost on your own website. Let's see what else. People said it's good for me. Let's see. And okay. Well, guys, again, I really hope you enjoyed this. Please reach out to us. We are looking for a handful of design partners. If you send us an email, I think there's a website link to something you can fill out to apply to be one of our first cohort of people that we're working with. It's Quentin. Quickly, can this manage my ads and ad spend on social media or on Google? Yeah, I mean, the short answer is yes, through the use of tools and through the workspaces themselves, kind of looking at your ad spend account and your ads and things like that. That would be a real use case that we're looking forward to working on with some design partner. Maybe you have that as your big thing and you'd like to get ahead of the pack. Reach out to us and we can talk about it more. Let's see, that was Quentin. Guys, I have to jump to my next call. Thank you so much. Namaskaram to everybody. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you. We're going to plan to do some of these now. This was our first one, but we'll be doing some again soon. Bye, everybody.